This is Mike Constantine. I want to start this session today by asking you a question. Do you find it hard to forgive? Every human being needs to be forgiven because all of us are imperfect and all of us disappoint and hurt one another. We don't always do it on purpose or because we're mean. We do it just because we're human people and we all make mistakes. Now, you can imagine, if that's true, how important it is that every one of us knows how to forgive the people in our lives who are closest to us. And yet sometimes it's hard. In general, forgiveness is more difficult when the pain of the betrayal or the hurt is deeper. In other words, it's easy to forgive a man for forgetting to take out the trash. It's harder to forgive a man for cheating on you. So you could see that somewhere between taking out the trash and marital unfaithfulness, there's a whole range of things that can happen that offend us or hurt us or wound us in some way or make life harder for us. And all of those need forgiveness. But what does that look like? How does it start? Well, what I think we have to know is that forgiveness begins with a decision, not an emotion. And that's what we're going to talk about just for a few minutes here. In a recent movie that I saw called A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Tom Hanks plays the part of Fred Rogers. Fred Rogers was a television presenter in the United States who had a program for children where he helped them to deal with the difficult issues in life. If you ever see the movie, you're going to realize within the first few minutes that the movie is not a kid's movie. It's for adults, and it deals with some very serious issues and some very deep pains. But at the very beginning of the movie, the Fred Rogers character says these words. Do you know what forgiveness means? It's a decision we make to release a person from the feelings of anger we have against them. When I heard that, I thought it was almost a perfect definition of what forgiveness is and how it begins. So think with me right now about this issue of forgiveness and how it relates to your marriage relationship. Now let's remind ourselves again that forgiveness is a decision, not an emotion. You can forgive before you feel like it, but you can't forgive until you want to. Now, if you're waiting for the emotion to make you feel like you can forgive, you could wait a very long time. So the best thing to do is just make the decision to forgive, whether it's a small thing or whether it's a big thing. Now you might be saying, well, if it's a big betrayal, if this person has hurt me many times or has neglected me or abused me, does forgiveness still work as a decision? Yes, it does. And here's what happens. As you forgive, you experience more freedom because forgiveness is always the first step towards freedom for yourself. You will notice that as you forgive and maintain that stance of forgiveness, your emotions will change, the bitter feelings will decrease, the desire to get even with the person will lessen, and you will not feel like you somehow have to take it out of them. You'll also feel less angry at yourself if you forgive the other person. So I want to ask you just one more question. Can you do it right now? If there is someone in your mind who has done something today or last week, last year, or sometime maybe in the early days of your marriage that you have not yet forgiven, would you decide to do it right now? You could write yourself a note, send yourself an email, just put on it on today, whatever this day is while you're watching this. Today, at this time, whatever this time is, I decide to forgive whoever the person is. Now that may sound too simple to you, but I assure you it is the first step towards your freedom and towards a clarity of understanding that will come to you after you decide to forgive. In our son's school, when they were younger, there was a boy who got a thorn in his knee. The thorn caused a large infection to develop in his knee so that his knee grew to the size of a large grapefruit. And the only way to get rid of the infection was to lance it. And so the doctor took a scalpel, he made a little cut in it, and all of this infection came out. You know, that's exactly what forgiveness does. When you decide to forgive, you're starting the process of releasing all the poisons that have built up in your soul because of bitterness. So I encourage you today, decide to forgive. This is Mike Constantine, and this is 4 Minutes to a Better Marriage. You can read more on forgiveness by going to my website, intermen.org. Follow the link that you see on the screen or use the QR code. Thanks for watching 4 Minutes to a Better Marriage, and we'll see you next time.